Hey everyone, this is part two of my two-part video on working with this drawer here. Again, this is a drawer from my dresser that I've been renovating, basically a project involving repairing, painting to give it a new look, so basically almost like a facelift, and then installing a new slider system because the old one was broken. And then the final thing that I'm going to show you with regard to this project is how to line your drawers. So you can do this with any drawer. It can be a nightstand, it can be an armoire drawer, it can be a cabinet drawer in your kitchen, it can be anything. And what it does is for me specifically, it kind of does two things. First thing it does is it will hide these screw holes here, or these screw heads. These are here because I had to attach the new slider system, the ball bearing slider system, on the underside rather than on the sides. So I had to actually attach it to some mounts that I made with wood. So this will actually hide that, which is nice. And of course the second thing that it does, and this is for anything, is it provides a nice accent to your drawer. You know, gives it some depth and dimension and character and so on. What I've actually done is for each drawer, I've actually found a different specialty paper. So each drawer has its own look. What I like to do is I get this at Michael's. This is like 59 cents a sheet, and then if you use like a coupon, Michael's always has coupons like 40% off and stuff like that. You can get these really inexpensively. It's high quality paper. It's very, very high quality. And these are 12 by 12 sheets. So this part right here that has all the information about the sheet on it, if you just cut that off, it literally measures 12 by 12. Now, the other thing that you want to do is you want to measure the inside of your drawer. You want to, because basically what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be lining the bottom and then these three sides right here. This right here I'm leaving, I'm not doing anything with, I'm just going to leave it white. But those are the three. So, for example, for this project, this measures 27 by 14, the base, or the bottom. And then each side here, these shorter sides measure 14 by 5. And then, of course, this back measures 27 by 5. So you want to get your dimensions, because what you're going to have to do is cut your paper. Now, I try and get specialty paper that has a design in it, a pretty basic design, as well as a lot of color. Because when you end up lining up your sheets that you cut, it'll make them go together. So it's kind of like, I don't know if any of you have wallpapered before, but you know, you kind of have to do that with wallpaper, and that way you don't have an abrupt change or like a seam or something like that. Now, what I do is I bought several of these. I bought about 7 of these, because this drawer would require 7 if you cut them to make them all uniform and homogeneous. So and what I do is when I cut them, so like for example, this base right here will actually require a total of 6 panels or 6 pieces. Once I cut them, I label each of the pieces so that I know where to lay them down. So I divided the base into 6 quadrants, and it's basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I always have 1, 2, 3 towards the front, and then what I do is I label each one. So here's an example of one of the labels. So this piece right here goes in quadrant 6, which is up here, and then I labeled it B and F, which is back, front. So actually I know where to actually lay it, and that way you don't get it upside down or facing in the wrong direction. So these are the 6 pieces here that I've cut for the base, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go finish cutting the other pieces for here, and then when I come back I'll show you how to put them in. Basically, we put them in using Mod Podge. We put a coat down, we put the paper on top of it, and then we put another coat on top of it, and then of course squeeze out all the air bubbles, and then once it dries, it's permanent. So really nice way to line your drawers. So I'll see you in a bit. Alright, so I'm back. I've got all my pieces cut and laid out. They're actually inside in the mudroom, ready to go. You will need Mod Podge. This is the Mod Podge that I always use. I have stock in Mod Podge. This one is the gloss luster. I always use the gloss, not the matte. It does come in two styles, but I always prefer the gloss over the matte. So first thing I do is this is just a plastic bowl or a disposable bowl. I like to put some in a bowl because it makes spreading easier versus trying to dip your brush in the actual container in the bottle. So what you just do is you just start to put this down. You want to make sure that you get the entire surface. You want to get the corners as well, the edges really good, because if you don't, they can peel up. So really get into the corners. So now what we do is we start to grab our panels or our sheets. All right, so this first one, it says bottom 2. This one is bottom 1. So this goes in the first quadrant, which is basically right here. And what I usually do is I try to lay just one corner, because as soon as this touches or comes in contact with the Mod Podge, it has a tendency to curl. If you've ever Mod Podged with magazine paper or magazine grade paper, that really, because it's thin, it's really affected by the Mod Podge, and it will actually really curl up. So what I'm doing here is I have a putty knife that this is doing two things. It's getting the entire surface, the back surface of the paper in contact with the Mod Podge. And then the other thing that it's doing is it's squeegeeing out any air. Okay. All right, first one's in place, and then we want to put in the next panel, which is this one here. So just come right up to the edge of the last one. Again, same thing. I usually like to squeegee down the seams first, get those good before I start going this way. Alright, and then finally, just go to the bottom 3. So there's here. Okay, so I just put in the last piece on the right side. Now all I have to do is just get some of the Mod Podge on top of that. As far as tips and things like that, a couple. When you're doing the sides, definitely make sure you get up here on the edge, because this is a weak point for the paper, because it's right on that edge. It has the most potential to peel down, so really make sure that you get on there and kind of almost even over the edge with a lot of Mod Podge. And then don't wipe off any excess that may even come out, so like there's a little right there, leave that on, and then that will ensure a good seal for that edge. Alright, so this drawer is complete, and this will dry. And then the other thing too, as far as tips, when you're squeegeeing, keep it at a pretty flat, maybe a 20-degree angle when you're doing that. Also, don't force down too hard, because you can tear the paper or gouge the paper, especially if your Mod Podge project is using magazine paper. That's very thin, and when it gets wet with the Mod Podge, it becomes very weak. So anytime you're flattening it down, do make sure that you don't put too much pressure on the end of tearing it. And then the other thing too is just as an FYI, if you happen to see any puckers, like here's a pucker right here, There's one right there. Don't worry about it because when this dries, they actually do flatten out. That's what's really cool about it. It kind of contracts when it dries. So this will be completely smooth. It is pretty, it's pretty solid with regard to. It can take a lot of wear and tear now because of the Mod Podge. That's the whole point for putting the Mod Podge on top as well. So that is how you line your drawers. Thank you for watching and have fun with it.